I, nearly adult male, lost my dad 10 years ago. When he got sick, he started a memory book with me so that I could hold on to the memories. He did one for my sister too, but she wasn't as into it and was more into videos he made of himself. But for me, the memory book was everything, and I continued adding to it after he died. I would add any memory I had of my dad or our family. Sometimes something came back when I found a random photo or something. Then I included memories with my sister. Sometimes I included some memories of Mom, but after Dad died, my relationship with her was more complicated. She thought we needed another dad, and because we said we didn't want another dad, she was angry with us a lot. She tried to rush a couple of relationships, but they failed when the guy realized he wasn't getting an insta-happy family. 5 years ago, my mom met her husband, John, and they merged families. John was a single dad of 3 kids. Technically, he has 4 kids, but one is not in his life. John's 3 kids do not have an involved mom, so my mom has stepped up to be their mom, and they call her Mom. John has tried stepping up to be my and my sister's dad, but we see him as just a stepdad. John's kids are just step-siblings, and I don't love John and his kids. I don't hate or dislike them, but I wouldn't ever include them in my memory book, for example. And that's what this is about. My step-siblings were in my room when I was in school a couple of weeks ago, and they found the memory book. They wanted to know why I had it and didn't have any photos of their dad or them. My mom heard them ask those questions, and she demanded to look through it. While Mom was going through it, my step-siblings said they wanted to add their stuff, and I said no, it's not for them. Mom told me not to say that kind of thing to them, and then she told me it should be something that shares memories with our whole family. I told her it was my personal thing. She took it away for a few days, and my sister stole it back, and then I asked my grandpa to hold on to it for me. Mom and John set me down and said it's unacceptable to have a memory book that's clearly about my family when I don't include my whole family. They said my step-siblings were very upset that I wouldn't add them or let them take part. Then they said it should be a family thing, and Mom insisted I hand it back over so we could all work on it together. I told them it's not a family project, it's mine. It's my way of documenting memories of the people I love, and they will not take it away from me. John was angry and said, "Oh, so it's like that. So you don't love us." Mom told me she and John had the right to decide what was or wasn't a family project, and once it's in their home, that's their decision. She also told me I was disrespectful for talking back. They also told me it was time to man up. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Telling you to man up is toxic and pathetic. This was something special between you and your dad. No one gets to tell you what to put in it, and they can't just take it over because of their wants. They can make their own memory book if they want, but keep your memory book to yourself. I would keep it at Grandpa's house because I could see them steal it and ruin it with their own stuff. If it ever returns to Mom's hands, I imagine that book being burned. Mom seems like the type to say, "If I can't have it, no one can." I will never for the life of me understand why surviving partners try to erase their dead partners like this. She could have easily said, "Let's do another one with this family, and we can all add to it as we go." But they had to be idiots about it, because they value their new partners more than their own children, which is disgusting. I would be asking a lot of uncomfortable questions if I were OP. So, if you force yourselves into the book of memories I have of my father, that'll make me love you? If a book of memories is this important to you, why haven't you started one? Are there any other possessions of mine that you'd like to help yourselves to? Do not ask the last question, OP. That one could backfire spectacularly. They sound horrible enough to take more of your stuff. If they want a family memory book, they're free to make one. Your memories with your dad have zero to do with any of them. I'm glad your grandpa could keep it safe for you. Tell your mom's husband to keep his kids out of your room. They have no business pawing through your stuff. I, 38 female, have a neighbor. We'll call her Sarah, 38 female. I'm married with 2 girls, pre-tween and tween, and she has 2 boys, same ages. Sarah's married, but her husband travels a lot for work, and she works from home. I am a teacher, so I have school breaks and summers off. Over winter break, Sarah's kids kept coming over to see if my kids could play. Play means they've been sent over because of their annoying mom, and she's trying to work. Backstory: the kids were friends when they were younger, but as they got older, they didn't really have much in common, and they drifted apart. Her kids go to a parochial school, and my kids go to public school, so they don't even have teachers or classmates in common. They don't have much in common anymore, and when they play, Sarah's kids fight a lot with each other and with my kids. One day over winter break, the younger one came to the door to see if my kids could play, and I told them they didn't want to play right now. Sarah texted me saying that she was on a work call and could really use some time with the boys out of the house. I caved and told my girls to try to find something they could do together. 10 minutes later, my oldest came upstairs crying, said that one of the boys had made a nasty comment about how boring our house was, and that it was dumb that I wouldn't let him play Xbox. The Xbox is my husband's, and it's in our family room, where I was doing laundry and watching a show. I told the boys if they were bored, they were more than welcome to leave. Now it's almost spring break, and Sarah just asked if I could watch the boys for 2 days because she has 2 busy work days and I'm off work. I told her no because we would be visiting family in Florida. She said okay and jokingly said, "I guess I'll just hit you up in the summer." I replied and said that I would not be babysitting her kids over the summer. True emergencies, sure, I said. I'm sorry, but just because I'm not at school during the summer does not mean that I'm your free childcare. Yes, I don't physically go to work over the summer, but I take online classes for my master's, and I teach online summer school. This means I'm also working from home. She blew up at me and told me I should help her because she's alone a lot, and now that the kids are older, it's harder to keep them entertained all day. I told her that I didn't care if the kids played together outside during the summer. Still, I would not be a caretaker or responsible for her kids unless she compensated me. I tried explaining to her that the kids do not get along the way they used to. My kids don't fight with each other like her kids fight with each other, and my kids don't really want them to be at our house all the time. Now she's angry and not speaking, and her oldest told my oldest that I'm not a good person because I won't help my neighbor. Am I the idiot because I won't watch her kids over the summer? Not the idiot. Just tell your daughter to tell him he is a bad mom who can't even watch them when she's home. See how she likes it. Or that he's such a bad kid that good neighbors won't watch them for free in the summer. Also, what does her opinion mean for you? It should mean nothing. This is a one-way relationship where she takes and takes. What do you get in return? A good neighbor award? The entitlement here is insane. A good neighbor is responsible for their own children and doesn't try to take advantage of others. You should also gossip and tell people that she sends her kids over unannounced and her kids behave poorly. And be honest, you've put in a lot of work for your students over the year, and you deserve to have a little break as well. Find a list of local summer camps and give it to her. That's the most you can do for her. Growing up, my husband and I were both the weird kids with no friends. I was a bookworm who talked too much. He was a class clown that people found annoying. We grew up, met, and married after 2 years of dating. We're both in our late 20s. While my childhood wasn't great without close friends, I'm not desperately yearning to revisit that time. I have friends and we talk once every few days, and we see each other in person every couple of months. We live pretty far apart. My husband, on the other hand, is and was looking for ride-or-die friends. I think he grew up watching too many movies about that. Eventually, at work, he found those friends. They were incredibly intertwined, and my husband did everything with them at work and in his free time. I tried to warm up to them, but they were immature and dramatic, and they all dated or broke up with each other. As time went on, my husband spent less and less time with me. I was lucky if I saw him once a weekend. I've tried to have an intervention, but apparently these people were fulfilling his deep need for that close friend group, which I couldn't provide. And I can't lie, He was happier than he had been in a long time. Sometimes you have to choose your spouse's happiness over your own. Recently, my husband has commented that he misses or wants to spend time with me. I think it's because his friend group is not meeting that often. This weekend, my husband wants to go on a date. However, I already have plans. I'm going to the zoo alone. My company had free tickets, and I snagged one. My husband is very sad that I'm not willing to cancel my plans to spend time with him. I told him I'm not a distraction or a backup plan in case his friends can't hang out with him. I'm going to the zoo, and I'm going to enjoy myself. Am I the idiot? Edit. I asked him if he wanted to go in January. These were limited corporate weekend tickets. He said no, he would be doing something with friends. That's part of why I don't want to buy him another ticket. I don't want my nice day alone to be ruined by someone who's only there because his friends aren't available. It just ruins the mood. I would be happy if he actually planned a date and invited me to do something instead of trying to make me cancel my plans I'm looking forward to. Not the idiot. He put his friends before you for a long time. It's nice he wants to go on a date now, but because of his behavior, you no longer count on him for the weekend. He can wait another week instead of being so dramatic about it. You waited many weekends for him while he spent time doing other stuff. Yeah, he can ask you to go on a date later. His not being understanding or considerate of your plans isn't a sweet gesture. He went out and lived his life. Did he expect you to just be waiting for him when he was done? I do wonder, though, why are you guys still in this marriage? This doesn't sound like a marriage at all. You guys are estranged roommates at best. Why not just call an attorney and make it official? Yeah, as a woman who chose to be solo for life a few years ago, I was frustrated while reading this. I'd rather be solo and have friends and do stuff alone than be the plan B or backup for the person who's supposed to put me first. OP, enjoy the zoo. He can suggest another time for the date that works for both of you. My sister Jen, 28, and I, 27 female, are from a lower middle class family. Our parents worked very hard to provide for us, so when we both graduated from university, the same major and faculty, we agreed that we would take our parents out to eat at a nice place monthly and take turns paying, in addition to helping them with what we can. I met my husband, Tom, 33, in my last year of university. He's rich, the only child of 2 doctors and himself a biomedical engineer, and adores my parents. We married last year, and he was engaged for 2 years before that. Since we've been engaged, Tom has been paying for our outings. He took my family to the nicest places, citing YOLO, and we always had the best times. Jen chose to do what she loved, and while her pay could have been better, she never struggled financially. She could take our family out until last year, when she decided to pursue a graduate degree, thus not earning. Tom and I said we would still have our nice monthly meal, and we would just pay for everyone. Jen started seeing Rick, 29 male, 9 months ago. 5 months into the relationship, Jen asked if she could bring Rick to our meal, and we said yes. Rick was working a similar job to Jen's, but in a more senior position. It so happened that my parents craved a certain type of food when Rick started to join us, so the restaurants we chose were not overly extravagant. Rick noticed Tom and I always paid, and he said he'd like to cover the bills next time. Everyone said okay. My mom chose a nice restaurant for our last outing. My parents and Tom preceded us as usual, but I noticed Rick and Jen looking tense. When it was almost time to pay, Jen pulled me aside and asked if she could borrow some money. I told her I'd happily pay for the meal. Jen said it would make Rick look bad and unable to pay when he said he would. I told Jen Rick could put everything on his credit card and I'd send him the money later. Rick ended up doing that, and after we 4 sent my parents back home, I asked Rick how much money he'd like me to help him with. Rick said he didn't expect to dine with such elites, and it was classist of us to spend so much on just one meal. Tom said if he couldn't afford the place, he could have just told us and we could have changed the place. Rick then accused Tom and me of calling him poor and beneath us. He said he'd rather go into debt than accept our help. I could tell Tom was mad, but he just took me home. Jen later called me and said I was inconsiderate for not asking our mom to choose a less pricey restaurant. She said if Tom and I thought the restaurants we had been dining at so far were average priced, we're so out of touch with reality. She said Rick was also mad at her for making him lose face. Am I the idiot? Your sister is the idiot in all of this. I know it seems off, but she's at the center of this. She must have known her boyfriend is a sensitive little sniper who clearly has issues regarding his socioeconomic status. He'd rather be in debt? Oh, please say she's heeded that neon flag. Seriously, she's been involved in these dinners since day one. You made it very clear that you and she are equal in your relationship with your parents and in life, though you have more money. She could have warned him. I understand his desires to impress, but his pride is the evil in all of this. She must know she's dating a man with that kind of pride. Everyone is glossing over the point that Rick has freeloaded multiple meals off of OP and her husband, Tom. Somehow, in all of those free meals, he hasn't saved enough to pay for one pricey meal for the group. Rick is gainfully employed and 29 years old. Why should OP and Tom always pay for him? If Rick can't afford it and couldn't be bothered to check the price of the restaurant, he just needs to swallow his pride and admit it. I'm baffled at his audacity about losing face, because he wasn't losing face by freeloading this entire time? Exactly. Weren't they elitist when they were footing the bill? Not only is he entitled, but he's also in denial about his own success and circumstances. Sounds like Rick is champagne taste on a beer budget. OP is not the idiot. This was on her sister and her boyfriend to manage, not OP. Our friend Phoebe has always been vegetarian, but has recently eliminated all animal byproducts. She's also my roommate. Every time we play D&D, our friends and my brother come to my and Phoebe's place. They all have other roommates or just one-bedroom apartments. We always decide in the group chat if we're going to order food, each bring something, or if I cook and they PayPal me. This time I offered to cook because I felt like it. I made a huge portion of vegan poutine. Making a real one would be too tedious, and I don't like the packaged stuff. Gives me the runs. Anyway, we're all eating and Phoebe gets super excited because she hasn't had poutine in a while. I tell her it's her lucky day because it's all vegan if she doesn't add the extra mozzarella. My brother Ross started to get pouty, and then we had a fight because he never agreed to eat vegan food. And just because Phoebe is vegan, he doesn't have to be, and he likes his meat and blah, blah, blah. He made this huge deal about it, even demanding I give him back his €5. LOL. He went off so much that even his girlfriend, Rachel, told him to calm down. But he said it was about the principle of the matter, and that if he didn't want to eat vegan, he shouldn't be made to eat vegan crap. For the rest of the night, I just kept taking things away. I had bought a gummy brand that is chewy and happens to be vegan. I took that, stating that he didn't want to eat vegan crap. When he wanted to get some fries, I took the little bowl and said, "Oh no, they're vegan." Salt nachos? Vegan. The bretzels I had? Vegan. By night's end, he called me a stuck-up witch and told me he wouldn't come back to my place until I had apologized and accommodated him too. Rachel and I took it way too far by taking away all vegan foods. Phoebe feels bad for starting this, and Chandler and Joey think it's hilarious. Am I the idiot? P.S. I do think I was one, but I don't think I should apologize. LOL. Not the idiot. He deserves everything you've done. He can't behave badly and then expect everything to be okay. I think he made a big drama out of something as simple as no meat on the table. Okay, if he wants to eat meat, let him bring products or tell you in advance so that there's something suitable for him too. But to go and sit at the table and complain in front of everyone who just wants to eat together is stupid. Well done, OP. Everyone's the idiot here, but honestly, I would have laughed along with Joey and Chandler. You provided food for the whole group, so your hosting is fine. A vegan cheeseburger needs to come with a warning, but I wonder if vegan poutine needs a warning if the cheese is an add-on. Fry oil can be totally vegetable, and a good gravy can be made 100 different ways. I'm hardly a poutine connoisseur, though. He was the idiot for calling it out in such a toddler tantrum way. Where I get to everyone's the idiot here is in your continuing to remove every vegan food he eats, even if it is just vegan by nature. I would have delivered each new food with a sarcastic, "Vegan food alert." I guess that would have made me the idiot too.